B.Bishop, and this is his work here at the Roxanne Antique Gallery in Northeast Washington, D.C. So, if you can, Brad, can you tell me a little bit about your schooling?
Yeah.
Or some of your training, your background?
Sure. Background, high school, Duke Ellington School of the Arts. I did four years there, my tenure there. And after that, Corcoran. It's cliche. I've been drawing and painting since a little kid. But how I got into Duke Ellington through my mom, through one of my grade school teachers that saw that I had a gift, and she told my mother that she strongly suggested that I look into Duke Ellington. And my mother checked out Ellington, had me audition, and I got in. The rest is history.
I guess with them being in Duke Ellington, were there any other people that influenced you?
At the time at Ellington, not really. Just basically my peers, my teachers. Just always striving to do the best that I could. For me, I'm like the underdog story. At Ellington, I was always observed as not having any talent, just having potential by all my teachers, and it always pushed me to practice and to work hard and to work at it. As far as influences, that came later after Ellington into college. That's when I got into airbrushing, and actually was the shirt king fade. I didn't know who he was at the time, but I saw his work on an rap album cover. It's really heavy into rap. Audio 2, they were wearing this airbrush t-shirt. I didn't know it was airbrush at the time. So I did a little investigation, actually called one of my old Duke buddies, and he told me it was airbrush. And so again, I was like, well, what's that? How do I get into it? And we hooked up one day. He showed me the airbrush, showed me, how to use it. And I was like, you gonna train me with this? He's like, nah, you're on your own. Just pick it up every day and practice with it, and I promise you, you'll get the results that you're looking for.
I noticed most of these pieces are pretty much the same size or dimension.
Yeah, the pieces that you're viewing now are 30 by 40, which is kind of my standard size. And one of these pieces normally takes about 2 to 3 weeks to complete. I'm really onto detail, so I like to take my time. Actually captured by the image first, seeing a clipping or something in a magazine, or just come across an image, just inspired to capture that image on canvas. And music. Music is pretty much the cornerstone for me. Music, it puts me in my moods, and it keeps me going. So actually, yes, I have a method, if you will. I start off with jazz in the beginning of the piece, drawing, sketching. It calms me, and then I may move into rap. While I'm actually working on the piece, rap keeps me going, gets me jumping, and then after that, then I might do a little rock. Believe it or not, that's from junior high school. Going to school with all the little rich kids.
It's all good. But
that's kind of pretty much sums it up. But music definitely moves me, and there's also a new form of music. It's like rap mixed with jazz. A lot of groups are forming from that, like Soul Live. They mixed hip hop beats with jazz, with the jazz instruments. It's a real nice sound, a spin-off of a new soul movement. So yeah, that's what really moves me.
art style?
Just a strong, highly detailed, a form of art. Just trying to, my goal is always to pull out the best out of that individual, that subject that I'm working on. Just to I pretty much like to choose images of these individuals, whether they're celebrities or just an everyday person, just pretty much, at the highlight of their life, or just the best representation.
How has it been? Like, can you describe, well, it's a little bit what it's like being an artist that's unknown, so to speak, because many artists that are, you always hear the saying, you really don't become an accomplished artist until you die, so to speak, or that's when your work's really, revered from
at Duke Ellington, they taught you to be an artist. They taught you the techniques of being an artist, being the best artist that you could be. What they didn't teach, and no fault of them, is they didn't teach you the art of business, which I think they really need to add in their curriculum. I haven't been to Duke Ellington, so I don't know what they're teaching right now. That was my understanding in high school. All the artists that were getting paid, so to speak, were dead 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 years. And you had to look at that and say, well, I mean, in order to make money, I have to be dead. So I always felt that wasn't really, true to form. But I went with that, and that was one of the reasons why when I attended the Corcoran School of Art, I majored in photography as opposed to, continuing into art, into painting or something like that. But even at Duke Ellington, we took a trip to New York City, and while in New York City, I met the late Keith Haring. Okay. And at the time, he was, one of the hottest pop artists out. And he simply was just doing graffiti on buses and trains and things like that. And at the time, I didn't know how big he was at the time. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't until after his death I saw, stories and things on him about that to realize how big he was. And then at that point, I realized, yes, you can be successful at this, in the art business. And then later, just I guess about 10 years ago, running into some old high school buddies, Joe Eborn, he brought to my attention the artists that are around our age now that are living well off of their art. And one of our icons at the moment would be Bibbs, Charles Bibbs. I mean, just, the type of numbers that he does when it comes to his printing, his printmaking and things like that. So being an unknown, I know that's just temporary. As an artist, you wear both hats, artist and businessman, or you hire someone to work for you, to represent you, if that's not your strong suit. If you want to live as an artist, you have to be serious on the business end, the business part of it. There's still a lot that I have to learn. Honestly, that's the only reason why I feel that I am an unknown at this time, because I have not done the legwork, the marketing, the planning, and those things that need to be done. You're basically seeing me starting over, and what I mean by that is I've been painting for about 10 years now, but just painting, putting work to the side, hanging paintings up in my mother's house, just receiving accolades from family members, and that was good enough for me. But now I want to become a professional at this, and I know that it takes a lot of hard work, a lot of planning, and some capital as well.
So do you have like two jobs, so to speak, where you're doing a 9-to-5 thing?
Well, actually, yeah. It's been a struggle. I don't want to give the same cliche artist, the artist struggle, but yes, I've been a struggling artist. I hate to say it, but yes, I have been. I'm going to start a new job, so it's not going to be a part-time, it's going to be a full-time. Mm-hmm. So the art is going to have to, be second for me right now. Mm-hmm. But the purpose of working again is, to provide for my family, to take care of everyone, and also to give fuel for my art, become my own capital for my art. Yeah.
So how many homes would you say to have artwork of yours?
It's small right now. I'd say about a good maybe 10, 15 homes have my work at this point. But I'm working on that, increasing those numbers.
Do you find yourself having to educate the public on, like price-wise? Do you ever find that a problem?
Not really. The only thing I've been having to educate lately is the form of reproduction.
Right.
I hate to use the word print. A lot of times people don't get that until you say print. I always say reproductions. G-clay is one of the highest forms of reproduction at the moment, and I have to explain the process. So when I explain the process, they understand, and as far as price, they understand the price. And this business, again, that's one of the aspects of marketing. You have to know who your clientele base is.
Right.
You have to know their disposable income. You just have to know who you're selling to.
Well, thank you, Barry. It's been a pleasure, man.
Thank you.
Yes, Roxanne.
Yes.
Roxanne, can you tell us just a snippet about what your gallery is and how you found Barry Bishop?
Okay.
And what about his, work that, lured you to?
The name of the gallery is Roxanne's Artiques.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
play on words. People look at it and say antiques,
Antiques.
but it's art.
Apologize.
So
Okay.
therefore, it's a variety of art, various forms. I have sculptures, paintings, international artifacts from various countries, and just like I said, art. Just that. I met Barry, really, believe it or not, I was going to his parents' restaurant, and I kept seeing this picture, and the picture that I saw was really one of a tropical scene, which I fell in love with, because it was like you could just walk into that painting. Mm-hmm. And then I noticed there were other artists that he had on the walls there, various musicians. So once I talked to his parents and got the information, we hooked up, and I told him, hey, I think I want local and upcoming artists to be represented in the gallery. Therefore, he fit that mold, and I wanted to just show his works, which has been a success, and here you are.
Great.
Here he is now with Roxanne's Artiques.
Great. Thank you much. I appreciate it.